Hello, everyone. Welcome to Story Time with Grok. Today, I have a big, exciting story for you called The Mystery of the Missing Market. It's full of adventure, friendship, and a little bit of mystery. So, grab a cozy seat, maybe a snack, and let's dive into the story. Are you ready? Here we go. A quiet morning in Greenvale. In a small town called Greenvale, there was a market that everyone loved. Every Saturday, the market came alive with bright colors, delicious smells, and happy voices. Farmers sold juicy apples, bakers offered warm bread, and artists displayed shiny handmade jewelry. The market was the heart of Greenvale, where neighbors laughed, shared stories, and felt like family. At the edge of this market lived a 16-year-old girl named Lila. Lila had curly brown hair, a big smile, and a curious mind. She loved asking questions and exploring new places. Her two best friends were Sam, a quiet boy who always carried a notebook to write down his thoughts, and Mia, a fearless girl who was never afraid to try something new. Together, they called themselves the Greenvale Trio, and they spent every Saturday wandering through the market, eating strawberries and dreaming up adventures. One sunny Saturday morning, the trio met at their usual spot near the fountain in the market. Lila tossed a strawberry into the air and caught it in her mouth, grinning. "This is the best place in the world," she said, her voice bright with excitement. Sam nodded, scribbling something in his notebook. "I wrote a poem about the market last night," he said shyly. Mia, carrying a basket of apples, laughed. "You and your poems, Sam. I just want to eat more of these apples. They're so sweet." But as they walked through the market, something felt wrong. The air was too quiet. The usual chatter and laughter were gone. Lila stopped in her tracks and looked around. "Where is everyone?" she asked. The vegetable stall, usually piled high with tomatoes and carrots, was empty. The bakery stall had no bread or cakes. Even the flower stall, which always burst with color, was bare. Mia frowned. "This is weird. Where are all the sellers?" Sam flipped open his notebook and wrote, "Market empty. Strange." Lila put her hands on her hips. "This isn't just weird. It's a mystery. We need to find out what's going on." Mia's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I'm in. Let's solve this like detectives." Sam adjusted his glasses, looking thoughtful. "We should make a plan first. Mysteries need careful thinking." The Greenvale trio huddled together, ready to uncover the truth. The trio decided to split up to cover more ground. Lila said, "I'll go talk to Mrs. Patel, the fruit seller. She knows everything about the market." Sam nodded. "I'll check the town square. Maybe there's a sign or something." Mia, always eager for action, said, "I'll look behind the stalls. Someone might have left a clue." With a quick high five, they set off in different directions. Lila ran to Mrs. Patel's house, a small cottage with a garden full of roses. She knocked on the door, and Mrs. Patel, a kind woman with a warm smile, answered. "Lila, why aren't you at the market?" she asked, surprised. Lila explained, "The market is empty, Mrs. Patel. No sellers, no food, nothing. Do you know why?" Mrs. Patel's eyes widened. "Empty? That's impossible. I was there yesterday setting up my fruit stall. But this morning, I got a strange letter." She handed Lila a small piece of paper. The note, written in messy handwriting, said, "The market is closed today. Stay home." There was no name, no signature. Lila stared at the note. Who wrote this? And why would they want the market closed? Mrs. Patel shook her head. "I don't know, dear. But it's very odd. I decided to stay home because I didn't want to cause trouble." Lila thanked her and promised to find out more. She tucked the note into her pocket and ran to find her friends. Meanwhile, Sam walked to the town square, a wide-open space usually filled with people chatting and children playing. Today, it was quiet, almost spooky. As he wandered past a lamppost, he noticed a piece of paper fluttering in the breeze. He grabbed it and read, "No market today. Go home." The handwriting looked the same as the note Mrs. Patel had shown Lila. Sam wrote in his notebook, second note. Same message. No signature. He felt a shiver of excitement. This was a real mystery now. At the same time, Mia was poking around behind the market stalls. She climbed over crates and peeked under tables, her eyes sharp for any clue. Near the apple stall, she spotted something unusual, a basket of apples lying on the ground, as if someone had dropped it in a hurry. Next to it was a small, rusty key, half hidden in the grass. Mia picked it up, turning it over in her hand. "This could be important," she said to herself. She stuffed the key in her pocket and sprinted to meet Lila and Sam. The Greenvale trio met back under a big oak tree near the market. Lila showed them the note from Mrs. Patel, and Sam held up the one from the town square. "They're almost the same," Sam said, comparing them. "Someone wanted everyone to stay away from the market today." Mia pulled out the rusty key. "And I found this behind the apple stall. It looks old, like it belongs to something important." Lila's eyes lit up. "A key. That's a huge clue. Maybe it opens something in the market." Sam tapped his notebook. "Let's think this through. The notes told the sellers to stay home, so someone planned this. The key might lead us to why." Mia bounced on her toes. "I say we search the market again. Maybe the key fits a lock somewhere." Lila agreed. "But we need to be sneaky. Whoever wrote those notes might still be around." The trio headed back to the market, moving quietly. They checked every stall looking for anything with a lock. They tried the key on a toolbox at the vegetable stall, a gate near the bakery, and even an old bicycle lock, but nothing worked. Lila sighed. "This is harder than I thought." Just then, Mia pointed to a small wooden shed at the edge of the market. It was old, with peeling paint and a rusty padlock on the door. "Let's try there," she said. They ran to the shed, and Mia slid the key into the padlock. It clicked and the lock popped open. The trio exchanged excited glances. "This is it," Lila whispered. They pushed open the door, and inside, they found something surprising, a pile of market goods. There were baskets of apples, loaves of bread, and bunches of flowers, all stacked neatly. Sam frowned. Why would someone hide all this stuff? Before they could answer, they heard footsteps outside. The trio froze. A shadow moved past the shed's window, and a low voice muttered, "They better not find it." Lila grabbed her friend's arms. "Someone's out there," she whispered. "We need to hide." They ducked behind a stack of crates, holding their breath as the footsteps grew closer. The shed door creaked open, and a tall figure stepped inside. It was a man wearing a long coat and a hat pulled low over his eyes. He carried a bag slung over his shoulder and looked around nervously. "Nobody's here," he muttered to himself. "Good. I'll move the stuff tonight." He started rearranging the baskets, not noticing the trio hiding in the shadows. Lila's heart raced. She wanted to jump out and ask who he was, but Sam put a finger to his lips, signaling her to stay quiet. Mia, always bold, whispered, "We need to follow him. He's got answers." The man locked the shed and left, his footsteps fading into the distance. The trio crept out of their hiding spot, their minds buzzing with questions. "Who was that guy?" Lila asked. Sam flipped open his notebook. He said he's moving the stuff tonight. That means he's behind the missing market. Mia clenched her fists. "Let's follow him now. We can't let him get away." But Sam shook his head. "We need a better plan. If he catches us, we could be in trouble." They decided to wait until evening, when the man said he'd return. To prepare, they went to Lila's house, where her mom was making cookies. "What's wrong, Lila?" her mom asked, noticing their worried faces. Lila explained everything, the empty market, the notes, the key, and the stranger. Her mom frowned. "That sounds serious. Be careful, you three. And take Max with you." Max was Lila's dog, a small but clever terrier who loved adventures. As the sun set, the Greenvale trio, with Max trotting beside them, headed back to the market. They hid behind a stall near the shed, watching and waiting. The market was dark and silent, the only sound the rustle of leaves in the wind. Max's ears perked up, and he let out a low growl. "He hears something," Mia whispered. Sure enough, the man in the long coat appeared, carrying a flashlight and a large bag. Chapter 5. The Nighttime Chase. The The man unlocked the shed and started loading baskets into his bag. Lila whispered, "He's stealing the market goods." Sam wrote furiously in his notebook, "Man stealing food and flowers."
Why?
Mia, unable to wait any longer, stepped out from their hiding spot. "Hey," she shouted. "What are you doing?" The man spun around, his flashlight beam landing on Mia. For a moment, he looked startled, then he bolted, running toward the edge of town. "After him!" Lila yelled. The trio sprinted after him, Max barking wildly at their heels. The man was fast, weaving through alleys and jumping over fences. Lila, Sam, and Mia ran as hard as they could, their breath puffing in the cool night air. They chased him to an old warehouse at the edge of Greenvale. The man slipped inside, and the trio followed, creeping through a side door. Inside, the warehouse was filled with more market goods, crates of vegetables, jars of jam, even paintings from the art stall. The man was talking to someone on a phone, his voice low. "I've got most of it," he said. "We'll sell it in the city tomorrow." Lila gasped. "He's stealing to sell the stuff somewhere else." Sam nodded, writing, "Thief planning to sell market goods." Mia whispered, "We need proof. Let's get closer." They tiptoed forward, staying low behind crates. Max, however, had other plans. He spotted a squirrel and barked loudly, giving away their position. The man turned, his eyes narrowing. "Who's there?" he shouted. The trio froze, but Max kept barking. Thinking fast, Lila grabbed a jar of jam and tossed it across the warehouse. It crashed, distracting the man. "Now," she hissed. They ran out of the warehouse, Max bounding after them, and hid in a nearby alley. Back at Lila's house, the trio told her mom everything. She called the town's mayor, Mrs. Carter, who arrived with several market sellers, including Mrs. Patel. The trio explained the notes, the key, the shed, and the man in the warehouse. Mrs. Patel gasped. "That must be Victor, my old assistant. He was fired last year for taking apples without paying. I thought he left town." Mayor Carter nodded. "We need to catch him, but we'll do it together." She organized a group of townspeople to go to the warehouse. The Greenvale trio led the way, with Max wagging his tail excitedly. When they reached the warehouse, the man, Victor, was still there, loading a truck with stolen goods. Mayor Carter stepped forward. "Victor, stop. We know what you're doing." Victor looked shocked, then tried to run, but the townspeople surrounded him. Mrs. Patel shook her head. "Why, Victor? The market belongs to all of us." Victor sighed, his shoulders slumping. "I was angry when I got fired. I wanted to make money by selling the goods in the city." The mayor called the police, who took Victor away. The townspeople worked together to move the goods back to the market, ready for the next day. Lila, Sam, and Mia helped carry baskets, feeling proud. Max barked happily, chasing his tail. The next Saturday, the market was back to its vibrant self. Stalls overflowed with fruits, bread, and flowers. People laughed and shared stories, grateful to have their market back. The Greenvale trio stood by the fountain, eating strawberries. Lila grinned. "We solved the mystery." Sam closed his notebook. "And I wrote it all down. Maybe it'll be a book one day." Mia laughed. "As long as Max gets credit, he's the real hero." The mayor gave the trio a special award for their bravery and cleverness. The whole town cheered, and Mrs. Patel gave them a huge basket of fruit. As the sun set, Lila looked at her friends. "What's our next adventure?" she asked. Sam smiled. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together." Mia raised her fist. "Greenvale trio forever." And so, the market thrived. The trio grew closer, and Greenvale buzzed with stories of their adventure. Every Saturday, as the market filled with life, Lila, Sam, and Mia knew they'd always be ready for the next mystery. And that's the end of the mystery of the missing market. What did you think? Did you like Lila, Sam, and Mia? Or maybe Max was your favorite? I hope you enjoyed this big adventure. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories to help you practice English. Tell me in the comments, what would you do if your favorite market disappeared? Or share your own story about solving a mystery. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy learning!